One more time I need to face brutal reality, and I ran into seriously bad luck because things that I was scared of the most are happening to me over the last few weeks. My bicycle rack broke again, and here it is. So now it is broken on each side. I think I will need to make a little detour and visit one town further down the road, but I still got like 80 or 100 kilometers to get there, so I'll try to stick this up like I did with the previous one, but this is complete disaster. Good morning. I guess all I can say is that yesterday I ran into some bad luck. So much so that probably for the first time in this journey I was cursing in at least 4 languages. First I broke my bicycle rack, so now it's broken on each side. And I managed to find some short-term solution, but it took me some time. And my idea was to camp next to this little river I found on the map. But when I got here, I realized it's way too swampy and the vegetation is way too thick for me to get inside. So I couldn't find any place to hang my hammock and continue my romantic nights next to little tropical igarapés. So I just tried to pitch my tent in this place, right next to the road, because I was so tired. And then I'm trying to place my tent and bang, the zipper of my tent broke. So I was sleeping in a tent that wasn't properly closed. And this is the glorious solution for my broken bicycle rack that I came up last night. Not looking too fancy, but when you gotta do, you gotta do. And that's that. Another thing that is completely not exciting to me is that last night I noticed that I'm cycling through the farmlands again. So along this stretch of road, jungle is destroyed as well. And I'm pretty sure I was also cycling through some burned down forest, because lately there are many forest fires in the news. Amazon is burning again, like every dry season. So it was pretty strange odd night with all of these things involved. Wow, there's some really crazy lightning going out there in the distance, and I wonder whether it's a storm and it's coming my way or not, because in here in tropics things can change very quickly, you know. And who knows, maybe storm is threatening my very life today, and if I won't get no shelter, I'll gonna fade away. But for now, I found this little noodle. I think that English name for this one is a black-headed coffee snake, and this is a full-grown animal. And I really haven't seen too many of these, so it's really interesting surprise. Really beautiful little snake, huh? Okay, I need to drop this in the bushes and cycle further. I'm really worried that some madness will start in a moment. It's such a strange night. It seems like storm is coming, and it's windy and it's cloudy, but not even a single drop of rain, which is good. And I keep on finding these tiny snakes. This one belongs to the genus Atractus, and I'm still not quite sure which species this precisely is. I will need to double check tomorrow. But these are all tiny fossorial snakes that usually are to be found on the forest floor, in the leaves, and there are many species. One seriously wild thing about sleeping in tropical rainforest, at least in South America, are the termites. Look at this. I just left this bag last night outside on the forest floor, and they are already building a colony. This is crazy. Come on. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Jacarareanga, a little town in the middle of nowhere in Brazilian Amazon. And I must confess, visiting Jacarareanga wasn't on my plan. It wasn't on my plan at all. But these last 150 kilometers or so of Trans-Amazonian highway, they were so brutal, so vicious. I was just pushing my bicycle up and down these crazy hills, and heat was butchering me, and my bicycle was just falling apart. And when I eventually managed to make this little detour and I came to Jacarareanga, my bicycle was broken like in 3 different places. And I was even thinking, nah, this can't be true. This is beyond repair, or at least beyond my capabilities. But surprise, surprise, Jacarareanga is a tiny town, but it packs a lot of stuff. There is even a little airport in here. And after a little bit of searching, I managed to find a tiny bicycle repair store. I left my bicycle in there for local guys to take care of it. And this morning I'm heading to the store to see whether technicians of Jacarareanga managed to fix my bike. I got myself some new brakes. I got some new bicycle spokes. And probably the most glorious achievement, I even managed to find a welder that deals with aluminium. And I managed to fix my bicycle rack for a while on each side. I really have no idea whether this will hold up. I think the better question would be how long this will hold up. And I hope long enough until I get to some bigger town and we'll make yet another bicycle revision and we'll lose yet some more money. But that's the part of the trip. Now, my friends, if you believe that it's easy to get the fire going straight after the rainfall, it's not. It
takes a lot of patience and a lot of effort sometimes. And I'm cooking and I want to eat some decent meal and drink a lot of coffee because I'm planning to cycle through the night. Although this looks like a good place to camp, but there is a catch. Further down there is some private property and there is a fence. And on the other side of this bridge there is a Indigenous reservation. And when I came to Jacarareanga, I noticed that half of the faces that I see down the street are those of Indigenous Brazilians. And there are giant, massive Indigenous communities all around. And some of these folks, they moved to live in town, but most of them live in the Indigenous reservations. And it's probably needless to say that I was definitely aiming to visit these communities, because this is so interesting to me. But in order to enter Indigenous communities in Brazil, you need a permission. You need a permission from government, and then you need another permission from community itself. So it took me one day to figure this out. In Jacarareanga, I went straight to the Center of Matters of Indigenous People or something like that. And in there I met two guys. One was an administrator or a director of the center, and another one was like he was an old man, some kind of a leader of one of Indigenous communities in here. And we had a long conversation. And they came up with this conclusion that, yeah, I may show up in one of these communities, but I need to get a permission from Itaituba. Itaituba is a town that I passed roughly 2 weeks ago, and it says 400 kilometers away. I'm definitely not going back. And also I'm not breaking the law. I really don't want to bother these people. If they don't want me to come, I won't come, but it was a bit of a disappointment, you know, because I really put a lot of effort into this and it didn't work out. So it was a bit of a failure. Yeah, maybe I'll visit some Indigenous communities further down the road. I mean, Amazon rainforest is packed with them. But in Brazil it is really complicated with all these permissions and so on and so on. It's quite ironic because before I had this channel, I was traveling around Central America and some parts of South America, and I used to just casually end up in a bunch of Indigenous communities here and there without much effort. And now I'm struggling to get into one of those and I'm failing over and over again. So yeah, I guess that's life. That's how it plays out sometimes. Well, what can I say? Perhaps it wasn't the most exciting night of cycling in my life. The only wildlife I saw were just a few snakes that were crushed on the road. And then at some point I realized that I'm cycling through massive cattle farms again, with dozens or maybe hundreds or maybe even thousands of eyes observing me from each side of the road. It's just those white cows everywhere. And then I entered jungle again, but from the distance I saw massive forest fires. Now I don't know if you can see those little lights out there in the distance, but there's a massive fire going on. You know, Amazon is burning every year on the dry season. You know, it's part of the local cattle farming. But it's one thing to see jungle burning in your TV screen, and it's whole another thing to see it in reality. And I just saw it from the distance, from far away, but these forest fires were so massive, like so massive. I think I was cycling through smoke for at least 5 or 6 kilometers. Yeah, it's a real madness. Like, at least from my point of view as an European, this is just unthinkable destruction. This is some real strong coffee I made, you know. It's like a rocket fuel. Time to hit the road. So once again I kept on cycling into the night, and it was really nice, but then lightning, and then thunder, and at some point there was so much of lightning going on that I barely needed my flashlight. And when this happens, all of my instincts, they say, oh, storm is coming, you know, I need to look for some shelter. But the thing is that this situation happens every single night for the last 2 or 3 weeks. And there's a lot of lightning and there's a lot of thunder, but there was very little of rainfall. So, a little like here, I just kept on cycling. But tonight it was raining, and it started raining pretty heavily. So I had no other option but just to pull over and jump into the jungle. Actually, I had to chop my way into the jungle and cover my stuff and hang my hammock in the most random fashion. But it seems I'm well protected. I don't know how long this rainfall will last or how strong this will be. And I wonder how the road will look like tomorrow. But let's expect for the best.